It's time to bring to the world and Totally Driven Radio a man that the world got to know last week, thanks to the Discovery Channel, and now the world of Totally Driven Radio gets to know him. Let's welcome the one, the only, the Pitbull himself, Mr. Henry Rife, to Totally Driven Radio. Welcome to Totally Driven Radio, Henry.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Just getting over the last week and a half of activity for that TV show. Wow.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Very exciting. A lot of fun.
I've been a lifelong fan of Evel Knievel, going back to probably, I was born in 70, so I'm going to say probably around 73 I got to know him. I mean, I remember watching Wide World of Sports as a little kid each week and seeing the Snake River Canyon jump and all that as a little kid. So all through my life, I've been fascinated not only with Evel Knievel, then you carry on the tradition with Robbie, and then as the world of the internet comes around, I sit and I'll watch old videos and I'll Google Daredevil. So I've known you've been on my radar for years. So,
really?
Yeah, absolutely. But as I think to myself, all right, Henry's a daredevil. Henry, I thought this was your job. This was how you're making a living. And I was flabbergasted when I was sitting and watching this show the other night, which I finally got to watch over the weekend. And I couldn't believe it. After I watched it, I said, that's it. I'm reaching. That's when I sent you an email to come on the show. So how many years have you been an actual daredevil?
Well, I've been jumping since this is my 40th year jumping bicycles. Started out with bicycles and then went to motorcycles, and then 22 years ago, 22, what is it, 88, 89, something like it, whatever the hell that is. I started jumping to four-wheelers, and I've been doing that ever since, but, it's not been a constant job to pay the bills, as you've probably seen on the TV show. I mean, you can't believe everything you see on TV, but it's pretty close. Wow.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And the thing that boggled my mind was you're putting your life on the line every time you're getting on that bike and doing a jump. And the way I related to it was I used to be a professional wrestler, and as I started getting older,
ECW.
and then ECW. As I started getting older and got married and started having children, and I would think to myself, do I want to go and get in a ring and risk getting hurt because I have my regular job during the week where I make my real money? And I started slowly backing away because I didn't want to get hurt. And then it finally just got to the point it's not worth it to me anymore. So now you have a normal everyday job, correct?
Yep, I drive a semi. I just got home about 45 minutes ago. I've been out on the road since about 5:30 this morning.
Wow. Don't you get scared you're going to, get hurt and possibly lose your job that pays your bills?
The people I work for, they back me 100%, and they're, I've known them ever since I've been a little kid, and they understand, and I've never missed a day. I've broken legs, I've broken arms, I've broken ribs, collarbone, nose, fingers, toes, dislocated knee surgeries, broken hip. I've never missed a day of work due to injury. I've limped and hobbled, and I've never missed a day.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. That's pretty impressive.
Well, being a daredevil isn't for everybody. And if you're going to choose to do this profession, then, just like with professional wrestling, there's risks out there, and you make an educated guess. For just the person that's never been on a four-wheeler before, it would be suicide to do some of the stuff we do. And That's why they don't do it. If they're smart, I've practiced for years. I know what I'm doing. I'd like to think that I have it down by now, and if I don't, then I should probably retire. But, I joked years ago that I didn't want to be 40 years old and still jumping a four-wheeler. And in May, I'm going to be 46, and I'm still jumping. And, I've noticed, I think it's mainly the patience thing with getting older. I'm getting better.
Now, that actually, brings up an interesting question that I had, and that was, when you do what you do, and I heard you just say that you practice and you study and you know what you're doing and you've looked at it from different angles. So, how does a guy like you, what do you think of this, surgence of, internet stupidity and internet daredevils where people are just going out and filming themselves doing dumb things and getting hurt? Does that sort of, does that affect the industry as a whole?
Yeah, I don't think it affects, the stunt world. I mean, the thing I worry about is a kid, thinking it's a joke.
Sure.
And as you guys know, especially a professional wrestling background, professional wrestling isn't a straight-up competition, but there's still so much wear and tear on your body. I mean, guys break their necks all the time, right? And,
sure, absolutely.
And they get hurt, and some have died. I mean, these kids watch this stuff on TV and they think it's a joke, and it's not a joke. I assure you, it's not a joke. A couple of years ago, I crashed in Fort Wayne, Indiana, indoors. So I hit the concrete, and it pissed me off. And I got up and I walked away, and I walked up the landing ramp and give the ramp gap a bird, and I grabbed the microphone and I said, if they'll have me back next year, I'll come back and I'll jump this thing and I'll do it right. And I walked down the ramp, and the guy walked up to me and just grabbed me, and oh man, that was great. And I hollered out in pain. I had a broke collarbone and I had a broke hip, and he looked at me and goes, wow, you really hurt. I said, what'd you expect? 75 mile an hour on a four-wheeler and you bust your ass on the pavement. Does it get any more real than that? I mean, guys wrecking a NASCAR and they got roll bars and seat belts and all that. I don't have that stuff. That shit hurts.
Now, when you go, do you go back and watch your crashes on video? Do you
Absolutely.
Do you watch it? What do you think to yourself when you're seeing the crashes?
Well, even the ones I make. I mean, I've been jumping for a long time. I've probably, if I'd have to guess, it's over 100,000 jumps I've had. And it's like anything. I mean, I am my own worst critic, and I try and critique everything I can. I watch everything. I study it over and over and over, and I do it ad nauseum. My wife, she puts up with it, but I just sit there for hours and just slow motion, forwards, backwards, just trying to figure out what I did wrong, what I did right, and it just never stops. And I think anybody, I don't care if you're a painter or you're a martial artist or just working at your job. If you're going to be good at anything, then you better be very well versed in what you're doing. You got to have a lot of practice in. You better know your job. If you don't know your job, especially like in stunts, then you're not going to have a long career. And I've been around here a long time, and I think probably as long as this show takes off, I think I got at least 5 more years in me.
You know what? You probably have a lot more than that.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I have a lot of fun. This is a ball. I have a ball doing this stuff. I get to meet a lot of great people. And, in a lot of cases, I get to help out some kids that they need. I do charity jumps, and I like to help out kids. I love kids, and I got 5 of my own. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I have one son that's mine, and then my wife has 4 kids, and we don't get into the step kid thing. They're all my kids, and they're a great bunch of kids, and I love kids, man. I like doing stuff with them and for them, and if I can help, like charities that I'm aware of, if my services are needed to do something like that, I'm more than happy to do it.
Now, how do they feel about you jumping?
They're so saturated with it. It's just, it's my youngest is actually mine, and he's dealt with it the longest. He jokes because his friends come around me, and I'm got the leather outfit on, and they're sitting there looking at me like, holy shit, what's going on? And he just, it's no big deal to him, it's just that's sad. And these kids are, wow, man, it must be cool to have a superhero for a dad. And he's like, I could give a shit less. But he takes it pretty cool. I mean, he's kind of possessive. If there's a kid to get around and what too many autographs and pictures and stuff, he starts, Dad, it's time to go. He's a lot of fun.
Now, one of the things, too, going back to the whole money situation, that struck me was the impression I got was that it's almost like when it comes to, like, money, like, you don't want to even accept the pay. Like, you don't feel right taking the money because you do honestly love doing it so much.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. It's I want to be paid for it, and I think I have a skill set that once it breaks out, and I think it's about to break out, I'm getting quite a few offers just from the pilot. And, I have a life, and I'm risking my life, and I think I should be paid for it. Do I need to be a prima donna and make, what some people say, $1,000 a foot? Yeah, no, I don't need that, but I love doing it. I love performing. I love watching everybody's reaction, to a stunt that I pull off. I've had some like bike rallies. I went and performed at some bike rallies, and you get these big tough bikers, and I'm dressed up like Evel Knievel, and I come walking out, and they're kind of chuckling around, hey, Evel, joking around and that, and then I climb on my four-wheeler, and I do my show, and they're always standing there with a bear. Dude, that's some of the coolest shit I ever seen. I didn't think a four-wheeler would fly that far. So it's cool to win over a crowd like that. That's part of it, but like a pro wrestler or a mixed martial artist or a painter or anything. This is my art. This is what I do. This is the thing I've devoted my life to, and if I get a little bit of recognition out of it, that's great. I don't need millions of dollars, but if that comes, I'm not going to complain.
Sure. Now, speaking of the Evel Knievel leathers, it seems like where I would think, or maybe it was for a time, like a lot of you guys didn't wear Evel's colors, or you wore like your own different patterns. It seems like now more and more you guys are wearing Evel Knievel's traditional red, white, and blue.
As far as I know, I am the only jumper out there, other than Evel and Robbie, that I have pretty much the family's blessing, because I did know Evel. I wasn't best friends with him or anything, but he flew me to Vegas. I hung out with him for a day and a half, and people warned me about going around and said, oh, this guy's kind of a badass, and he's probably going to disappoint you. And Evel has a reputation. I mean, his nickname is Evel, and it's for a good reason. So sure. they were worried that he was going to. If Evel Knievel would have been bad to me, it'd have broke my heart. I mean, you told me you loved him too, dude. I to be honest with you, I worship the ground the guy walked on, and I went out there, and the guy couldn't have been any nicer to me. I mean, and even his wife looked at me and said, "Who the hell are you?" Because Bob is not normally like this. And then I met Robbie later on that night, and the same thing with Robbie. He couldn't have been any nicer to me. And people just kept saying, this is unusual. And I've maintained a contact. I'm not going to say we're buddies or anything with Rob, but, just the other day, Robbie sent me a text message on my phone. He said, I watched the show. He said, you're the star of that show. He said, screw egos. He said, dude, you were fantastic. And he said, I appreciate you keeping the family's name alive and wearing the collars. So,
that's awesome.
It's very flattering. I mean, the best explanation I can give you is I did a parade a few years ago, and a kid walked up to me and he said, are you Robbie Knievel? I said, no, I'm not Robbie Knievel. And he said, well, why are you wearing your outfit then? I said, well, and his mom grabbed him and he said, because Evel Knievel is his teacher, and it's kind of a homage to his teacher. And, she got it, and that's probably the best explanation, like the old Kung Fu movies, got to show some respect to your teacher, and that's why I do that. I've had people give me hell about doing, you shouldn't wear Evel's leathers. Well, Evel knew I did, Robbie knows I do, and they're both cool with it. And, Robbie was so cool with it that he watched me jump a couple years ago, and he walked over and gave me a necklace. And, when I jump, I wear it, and he was tickled that he seen it on TV. So, the family has kind of embraced me, and they've treated me really good. I mean, I kind of keep my distance. I don't want to be a leech or anything, but,
right.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Nice. Now,
well, how many people can say, Babe Ruth, if you play baseball, Babe Ruth called you up and flew you somewhere and hung out with you and appreciates the fact that you play baseball like them. I mean, hell, that's cool.
Come on, yeah. I mean, and I'm with you. Like, Evel Knievel, I mean, to this day, he's probably one of, the biggest idols I've had in my life. And I still, even when I'm trying to do things for Totally Driven, when I think of a business stance and all, I think back to the things like how Evel used to conduct himself in his early days when he was trying to book Caesar's Palace, and the way he would say he would try to portray himself and make himself bigger than life, and the main event. And this is you got to make yourself sellable that these people want you, and I
Absolutely.
think of that all the time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I mean, you got to fake it till you make it. But unfortunately, in my line of work, if you fake it too much, you end up dead. So you better be good at what you're doing.
Now, actually, I met Robbie back in the late 80s at a car show, and I got to see him jump. It's probably about 7-8 years ago. But when I met him years ago, there was nobody talking to him. It was just me. And I was talking his ear off. And one of the questions I remember asking him was, I said to him, what goes through your head when you crash and then you have to jump again? And because, you're trying to make a living at this. And his answer was, I get back on that motorcycle real quick when I have to go report to the construction site on Monday, and I say, oh, hell no, I'm getting back on that bike.
Right. Well, I'll narrow it down for you. I got invited to, did you see my bit I did on the Letterman show?
I saw it on YouTube. I didn't see when it actually happened.
Well, I did Letterman, and I practiced that. They asked me if I could jump, X amount of taxi cabs, and I said yeah, and they wanted to see if I could do it before they, brought me to New York, and so I did it in the parking lot for them, and went out and broke my arm. And I didn't tell them about the broken arm, but I did it. And I showed them the video, and they said, yep, book it. So I had 3 weeks. So I babied that arm for 3 weeks, didn't mess around with it, shifted my semi with my elbow instead of my hand because I couldn't move my hand. And it was my throttle hand. So I did that and went there, showed up for Letterman, and did a practice run and broke it again. So then what do? The biggest jump of your life, and you're in practice, and they were getting ready to pull the plug on it because I destroyed my first four-wheeler. And, I took a Craftsman wrench and I taped it to my arm, and I went and got a four-wheeler out that I just bought, never rode before. And I turned around and did that practice jump with a broken arm and a four-wheeler that was untested. And then I stopped, and I sit there and stared at those ramps for 8 hours. And right before, I didn't move, I didn't change clothes. I sit there and stared at those ramps all day. And as it got to be time for the show, Jamie Foxx was doing two shows that day. It was on Monday, and my show was the Friday show, and his show was the Monday show. And he got out of a vehicle, to walk into the studio, and he's looking at the ramps, and he shook my hand. And he looked at me funny. He goes, "Hey, man, can I ask you something?" I said, "Yeah." He said, what the hell do you got on your arm? I said, "A Craftsman wrench." And he goes, "Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?" He said, what the hell you got a wrench on your arm for? I said, "My arm's broke." And he hugged me, and he kind of laughed. He goes, "Man, what is it with you white boys and these stunts?" And he goes, "I'm going to watch it." But, he's a very cool guy, and, and I sit there and thought about what he said, and, what it is, it's the thrill of competition. I mean, you understand that.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm not trying to prove that I'm better than everybody else. I'm trying to prove that I'm better than I was the last time I jumped. It's all against myself, and that's what jumping is. 10 people get out and jump, and you're going to get 10 different results.
Right.
And some are going to fall off, some are going to narrowly miss it, and some are going to make it. Some are going to make it look easy. But it's a personal thing, and it's against your own mortality, and I get a thrill out of it.
Now, it seems like you just mainly jump in your hometown area, or do you go around the country a lot, or?
I haven't been around the country, but I went to New York. That's really the farthest out I went. When I did Letterman. I have offers to go, but, like you said about the money, this stuff moving trucks and four-wheelers and personnel around, that shit's not cheap.
Sure.
And, everybody, one thing I've learned in the stunt world is everybody wants something for nothing, and you've probably dealt with that with wrestling.
Sure,
but,
absolutely.
You can't, you got bills that got to be paid, and, if you're trying to make a living out of doing this, you deserve to be paid. You deserve to be paid millions of dollars when, you're going to bring, a couple, 4, 5, 6,000 people. No, but you deserve a piece of that. And,
sure.
You got to make it pay. If it don't pay, why are you doing it? So, the power of the Internet is why you said you've watched me for years. I've been on your radar for years. It's the power of the Internet. I've stayed in Van Wert recording this stuff and putting it on YouTube. That's how Letterman found me. That's how the people for the Heirs To The Dare found me. And everybody told me, "Oh, you'll never get anywhere doing that." Well, apparently I have. The Internet is a wonderful thing. As you well know, you got a radio show, and it frees up a lot of things. It keeps me from having to travel. A foot in Van Wert, Ohio, is the same as a foot in California or Beijing, China. right?
Absolutely.
So what I can do in Van Wert, I can do any place else. We just got to find people willing to pay it. You know, I mean, it comes with sponsors and all that, and I'm starting to get some sponsors. I can use some more, but we can always use more. You know, I mean, this shit's expensive.
Right on. Yeah, right on. Now,
each one of my four-wheelers, I got them with $30,000 in. You have a bad day at work and you total one. Guess what? You got to pay for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've wrapped up over the years. I've wrapped up a lot of money in this stuff, and you know, I don't really see the point in, you know, hollering about, oh, I'm the most expensive Daredevil out there. Look, I want to be, and the people with the show kind of laughed about it, but it's true. I'm the hardest working guy in the Daredevil business. I bust my ass. I do a good job. I put out a good show. And I will not leave until everybody has a picture that wants one. I will not leave until everybody's got an autograph that wants one. And one thing I've made a personal vow to myself, I'll never charge anybody a dime for my autograph. If you want an autograph from me, you'll get it.
Now, how about but Bubba? Does Bubba charge for autographs?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. You know, everybody has got their own personality and they got their way of doing things, and you know, I mean, we don't necessarily see eye to eye, but that's okay. I don't hold it against him, and whatever. His line of business is different from my business model. You know, I think I make a decent wage at a jump, and you know, if I sell some T-shirts and sell some posters, then I should sit my ass there and sign it for all them nice people and take a picture with them. And you know, I don't have anything I'd rather be doing, so I'll stay there. And I don't care if there's 90,000 people there. I'll stay there till everybody's got an autograph.
Yeah, I was going to say, I kind of felt that like you weren't actually like too big of a fan of a Bubba's. That's the impression I got from the show.
Well, you know what? I've known Bubba for almost 16 years now, and the more that I know, the less of a fan I am. We'll just say that. You know, he's well, you know, look, you know, I keep bringing up the wrestling to give you an idea of, you know, where I'm coming from. Have you ever had, and I know you have, you've been around wrestlers that believe their own hype a little too much? Well,
totally.
There you go. There you go. I mean, you know, every Daredevil's got a huge ego, and I believe that an ego is useful. I believe that some bravado is useful, but it's useful when it's time to jump. But when it's not time to jump, you're sitting around. I'm just Henry Rife, regular guy, truck driver, father, husband. I'm just a normal guy, and not everybody falls into that. But you know, that's okay. I mean, I'm not I'm not the ego governor of the world, so you know, I mean, it's free country. He can do what he wants.
Now, you said they found you on YouTube when they started putting this show together.
Yep.
Where you had to have been like shocked when this whole thing was started coming about.
You know what? I'll tell you the truth. I haven't been shocked about any of it. I told my mom 22, 23 years ago all this was going to happen. She laughs and says it's happening exactly how you said it would. And I said all this. I said sooner or later I'm going to find a market. You know, I'm going to find a outlet where somebody's going to want to focus in on what I do, and they're going to appreciate me. And until then, I'm going to practice my craft at, you know, being a daredevil and hopefully not get killed in the process. And, you know, I've jumped over 100,000 times and had really only, 6 or 7 crashes and probably only 4 major ones. So, yeah, that's a pretty good ratio. That's better than driving a car out on the street, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you said you started jumping actual two-wheel motorcycles. Why did you switch over to four-wheel?
Well, back in the late 70s and the mid 80s is when I started jumping dirt bikes, and I learned early on at that time, Evil was still around, and he just quit jumping in the early 80s, so he was still fresh in everybody's mind. Sure. And Robbie was coming out, and if your last name at that time, this is before all the X Games and everything, if your last name was a Knievel, you weren't going to do anything, as far as jumping a motorcycle. I mean, it wouldn't make any difference if I wore all black and jumped whatever. It didn't make any difference what kind of motorcycle. You would still get compared to Evil and Robbie Knievel. So then the four-wheelers came out in, the mid-'80s, and I started fooling around with them. And, I was on one probably 5 minutes, and I started hitting little hills with it, and I thought, hey, this damn thing can fly. And so I started making the hills bigger and, just had to brainstorm, I'm going to make a ramp and I'm going to start jumping cars. And, everybody told me not to. And as you can see, I didn't listen.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're kind of hard-headed with some things.
Well, that's where the Pitbull nickname comes in, I mean, I'm not a real tall dude. I'm about 5'8". I was always a star athlete in high school, but I was always, when I graduated, I only weighed 138 pounds. And but I still, was a star football player. I was running back, if you can believe that, and I was an outside linebacker, and I was a star wrestler. And I just always had a drive to compete, real ferocious competitor. And it also didn't hurt anything that my older brother is about 5.5 years older than me. When I was 138 pounds, he was 340 pounds, and he had a bit of an attitude. So he beat the hell out of me all the time, and it kind of toughened me up. He's pretty ruthless on me, but, that's all right.
You mentioned the X Games, and that was one of my questions, actually. Like, what was your feelings about, like, the X Games and the Nitro Circus and stuff like that, those type of daredevils?
The X Game riders, that type, like freestyle motocross, and whether it's dirt bikes or snowmobiles, or now they're getting into flipping cars and trucks and, whatever. Those guys are great athletes. I mean, I sit in awe of Travis Pastrana. That guy is the man.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that appreciates this kind of shit knows he is as daredevil as they get. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for anybody that gets out there and freestyle motocrosses and all that. I think they're great. But what I do and what Bubba does and, Joe Reed and some of these traditional Evel Knievel style jumpers do, it's a little bit different. It's not doing tricks. It's a smaller ramp, what's not near the apex. The arc is not near as high, but we're trying to jump out as far as we can. So it's a little bit different than what's going on today, where they have taller ramps, a lot steeper, and they throw themselves up in the air and give a lot of hang time so they can do the tricks. But it doesn't take anything away from their balls or their brilliance at what they do. I mean, that's what they do. That's the end thing for this generation, and I totally get it. And I hope before I retire, I hope that I can teach myself how to backflip, because I want to do it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I'm going to do it. I promise that I'm going to leave the ramp and I'm going to get the quad to start flipping over. How it ends up, hell, I don't know, but we'll give it a shot.
Now, how about we had Ed Beckley on.
Love Ed Beckley. He's a great guy.
Yeah, what are your feelings about Ed and I guess Super Joe wants to do it as well? They both trying to jump the Snake River Canyon.
I think Ed's not bullshitting anybody. He's damn serious about it. And if you're listening, Ed, love you, buddy, because Ed had a crash the other day, and he got banged up pretty good.
Week.
I hope he has a speedy recovery, but he still says he's going to get it done. I think Twin Falls, Idaho is trying to put the kibosh on that. Now, what the hell is the problem? I mean, this is a historic thing. It's the 40th anniversary. He wants to do it on the actual launch pad that Evil had. I mean, come on, man. Can you get any cooler? I don't think so. He paid almost $1 million for the land rights, and now they're trying to squash that. Really? I don't get it. I mean, there's all these biker gangs that come in and bullshit. It's just somebody. Right. That's crap. They need to let Ed get it done, do it. I want to watch him do it and make it. And he's invited me to come out. I want to go watch it. Bob Truax's son, Scott, I know him. He is Bob Truax was the guy that actually designed the original rocket. And Scott is designing another version of the X2, and he's got his own pilot that's going to do it. Stunt guy, Eddie Braun, I think's his name. Since Twin Falls wouldn't give, they're playing with the land rights. I think they're moving like a mile down the river, and they're going to do it in another county, and there's nothing Twin Falls can do about it. So that's pretty clever, and I wish Scott and Eddie all the luck in the world, and I'll go watch that too. But as far as Super Joe jumping it, I don't think he's going to get it done. But I have an idea for Super Joe.
Uh-oh.
There's always the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Super Joe. He did some cool stunts in the late 70s and the 80s and even in the early 90s. And he's not getting any younger. And I would love for the guy to be able to get to do something that he has his heart set on doing. I don't think it's going to happen. But, me and Super Joe, we don't necessarily see eye to eye. But I got to say, he's fun to watch on TV. And, he's been very classy about most of the show and his dealing with me. And he's got a great family. And, I wish no ill to him. I mean, I think some other jumpers could take a lesson or two from him.
It seems like there's, with all you Daredevils, I guess is there like a little animosity between each of you, maybe?
Well, I have no animosity towards anybody. I mean, I think that comes with my personality. I'm a pretty secure person. I don't feel insecure about that stuff, and I go out of my way and try and help people. If they come up with, well, I have this idea for a stunt, what do you think? And if they want my input, I'll give it to them. If they need my help, I'll try and help them if it's within my power. There's guys out there, and we shall leave them nameless, Bubba, but they have this old school Showtime mentality that nobody is allowed to get over but them. And I think he even says in the show that the spotlight shines on just one. That's not true. I think if you're good at what you do, it doesn't make any difference what you do. If you're good at it, people will notice. And it doesn't make any difference if there's 3 or 4 of you out there. If you're good at what you do, they're going to notice you. And so I'm not threatened by anybody.
Yeah. Now, with the show, was there like a lot? Did you guys film a lot of footage that wasn't used, like that would be ready to roll for future episodes, or would you have to start filming all over again?
Well, probably a little bit of both. I mean, we filmed for a whole year.
Oh, okay.
There's tons of stuff. Yeah, there's tons of stuff that didn't make it on there. Heirs to the Dare is really right now a pilot, and it's going to be based on whether or not people take an interest in it, whether it'll get picked up or not. It's
Sure.
available on iTunes. I think the last airing was today, but now that's the only way you can see it is iTunes, unless they add some dates. They might. It's on Amazon and Google. All these different avenues you can watch it. But they told me that if we had around 600,000 viewers for the initial show, that we stood a good chance of probably, getting picked up. At least some serious talks would be involved. And for the initial airing, the premiere, we got just a fuzz under 800,000, and they didn't advertise it at all. So I think that was pretty good, don't you? I mean, did you watch the show?
I'll tell you what, I didn't know nothing about the show until that original Monday night. We were actually doing a radio show. I got done doing the show, and as I was going through Twitter, I started getting followed by the Heirs to the Dare Twitter. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I'm seeing the red, white, and blue like evil. I'm like, what the frick is this? And I open it up, I'm like, TV show, and then it was saying it aired Monday night. I'm like, shit, I missed it. Like, so then I'm Googling it, and then I found the thing, and I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, oh man. So then I kept like setting my DVR to tape it like 3 or 4 times throughout the week, and it wouldn't record for some reason. So I ended up finally just buying it on iTunes and watching it over the weekend.
What did you think?
I loved it. Loved it. I watched it over the weekend, and I watched it again this morning.
With everybody.
I thought it was great. I mean, I thought it was a very well done show. And even if somebody doesn't enjoy, the whole Daredevil thing or that whole Evel Knievel, like Daredevil jumping, they would enjoy that show. It was an entertaining show overall, showing the behind the scenes and the interactions of you guys, and the cross between your real life and the Daredevil life. And I got to admit, one of my favorite scenes of the whole thing was you and your mom going back and forth over who's better, Elvis or Evel Knievel.
Well, we both know that Evel Knievel's better.
Oh, absolutely. Come on.
The funny story about that is my mom. My mom is really a quiet, humble, very shy person, and
see, now I wouldn't have thought that.
She's just a doll, and you guys really got to see exactly what my mom's like because she didn't know we were filming. She was really nervous about it. She's wringing her hands about it, and I hope I don't mess this up, and I hope I don't look stupid, and she's just really worried about it. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, Mom. I said, sit down here. I said, we're going to practice. And, the camera guys were setting up, and, the director was back there, and he was watching all this going on. And I said, so I started walking her through it, what we're going to do. And then we started talking. I said, and this is what's going to happen. We start talking, and the director is motioning for his camera guys to roll. And so we sit and talk for 35 minutes, and they shot it all. And I was slamming my hand down on the table and said, guess what? You're a movie star, Mom. What? I said, yeah, you're done. What? What are you talking about? That was really, you talk about reality TV, that was really how my mom is. And I couldn't have a better one. Yeah, my mom makes Carol Brady look like nothing.
Oh, that's great. That is great. But, I mean, that scene alone, it made the whole show. Because
she's wrong about Elvis being better than Evel Knievel, but other than that, she did a great job.
I was showing that to my wife this morning. Even my wife was hysterical. But
everybody loves my mom, and that's great.
It is. Even my co-host Nick, I was telling him, I'm like, you just got to see it because it's an entertaining show.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I mean, we worked a year on it, and this thing has taken a lot of very strange twists and turns. You know, I mean, it started out as more of a focus on the behind-the-scenes stuff, you know, in the stunt world, and you know, just kind of the payoff at the end of the show was going to be one stunt. And they did some focus groups, and they said they wanted more stunts, and then they wanted more stunts, and they wanted more background and more technical. So a lot of the stuff that we shot that was like a little produced, kind of quirky, funny, a lot of humor, and honestly, I didn't really see it myself. I kind of agreed that I want, you know, if that was me watching the show, I would want more stunts. You know, if you're going to watch a stunt show, give me some stunts. It's like watching, watching a stripper. I mean, sooner or later you got to show me the tits. You know, I mean, but you know, the truth is, you know, they found a good blend with everything, and they had to recut that thing 8 different times. And cut number 7 was so good, they told me they was going to cut it again. I was mad. I thought, oh man, they're gonna screw this up, and I was really upset. And then they said, well, we got the final version. Do you want to see it? I said, yeah. They sent it to me. I sat there and watched it. My mouth was hanging open because they outdid themselves. I mean, Mike Riley is the producer, and he's done a lot of stuff for MTV. And that guy's smart. He's got a great sense of humor. He writes a lot of this stuff. And Jason Beauregard is the director / cameraman, and these guys just sit there and just toiled over this thing. I mean, you know, they hit me up. I'm doing a show, right? And, you know, I hit the jump, and Jason would walk up to me, hey, I want to try a different camera angle. Could you do it again? So I did one show. I jumped probably, 20 times. And,
wow.
And you know, the scene where you see me at the drive-in swinging around the corner and all the stones flying everywhere, I bet we shot that thing 15, 18 times. He wanted to get it just right. And, you know, I was happy to do it. I mean, that was the point of it. I'm there to work. And,
right.
You know, that's kind of my thing with some other people involved in the show, and I won't get into who they are, brother, but you've got to understand that, you know, when you sit there and say, you guys better have 17 cameras because I'm jumping this one time, that's the wrong attitude. I mean, I want to be a damn action figure, so if it requires me jumping 50 times, I'm going to jump 50 times. You know, I want to be a household word like Evel Knievel, and if it requires me slinging a bunch of stones around 30, 40 times, count me in. I'll do it. And,
well, actually,
you know, I'm not going to play that. I mean, whatever they want, they'll get from me.
Well, we got a caller for you, Henry, and they said something about Santa Claus, that you would know the joke.
Santa Claus. Uh-oh.
All right, they're laughing. Santa Claus, you're live on the air?
Yo, Henry, it's the big red guy.
Where's my bike, you son of a bitch?
Yeah, but you know I love you just the same.
Yeah, well, all I've been getting is lumps of coal. I mean, I'm still, you know, ever since I've been a little kid, I've been waiting on that Evel Knievel bike, and I've never got one yet.
Well, I'm working on that one. I have an inside track on that now, so I'm working on it. But I want to know, what is your ultimate dream jump?
Ultimate dream jump. My ultimate dream jump would be to probably jump a bunch of buses or semis at a casino in Las Vegas. I mean, or maybe do like a mock-up of the original Caesar's Palace layout, I'd probably do that. You can't jump Caesar's Palace the way it is now. There's too much stuff in the way, but, I mean, we could definitely recreate it. And I would do that. But I'd do it on a four-wheeler. I think that'd be cool. Would you guys want to see that?
I'd love it.
That, some buses, some trucks, and buses and trucks. I don't know. I mean, I think I still got a lot left to do. I really don't feel like I got a lot to prove. But, you know, I'm competitive with myself, so I'm actually in negotiations with the same place that Bubba jumped the helicopters. They want to see me jump a helicopter with no landing ramp. And I told them I'd do it if they'd pay what I wanted.
Well, how about, since we talked about earlier with Big Ed and Super Joe wanting to jump Snake River Canyon, any crazy idea like that in your head that you want to jump a canyon?
You know, I said this before, if I was standing there and the rocket was ready to go and there was somebody holding a check for $6 million going to write it out to me, I would get in that thing and I'd probably do it. But to sit there and plan it and say I'm going to do it for a whole year or 2 years or however long Ed's been talking about doing this, I just don't think that I would want something like that. I mean, I'm not in a position right now, so I can't honestly tell you if I'd do it or not, but, I mean, yeah, it's not high on my list. I mean, look at that thing. Evel Knievel had balls like an elephant. And, Ed and Eddie Braun, those guys that are wanting to do that, I say more power to them. I really don't have a big interest in it. But, if somebody's listening to this and they got $6 or $10 million they want to throw my way, we'll probably put a rocket-powered moped together and give her a shot.
Wow. Only $6 million, people. Ante up. Come on.
That's a deal at any price.
There you go. So what do you have coming up in the near future?
My first jump of the year so far, I'm starting to get phone calls because of the show just coming out. I'm going to jump at Angola Motor Speedway in Angola, Indiana. I want to jump, I think, a bunch of pickups. Going to do that, and then we're trying to negotiate this Black Diamond Harley Davidson thing. That's where Bubba jumped the helicopters. I'm either going to jump the helicopter, or I'm going to jump a big bunch of Harleys. I mean, that's something that people are getting into. I show up at like a biker rally, and they line their bikes up. They got all the neon on. Now lately they've been staying on the bikes, and as I hit the ramp and fly over it, they all rev the bikes up and that, and people get off on it. So I'm starting to do more and more bike rallies. And, I mean, it's an easy, quick, cool-looking stunt, and, I don't know, I'm pretty much up for anything.
Nice. Well,
I've got some offers to jump in Texas and Louisiana, and I got my agent looking at that stuff, but, I haven't jumped in Philly yet, so you guys need to get me out there.
Absolutely. And then we'll go get some cheesesteaks afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
and as me and your boy Tom, we've been talking a lot the past few days, and as I said to him and he said to me, now's the time for you to strike, man. With this TV show, your number's hot right now, so you got to strike and get it while you can.
Well, I'm definitely trying to do that to win some of the other people on the show over to my thinking. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but, Bubba needs to sort this out. I mean, it's got to stop being about being ego-driven, and it's got to be about, having something sustainable that all of us can. Look, I want to walk into Kmart and see my action figure standing there. You know,
right.
I want to see kids wearing my T-shirts and stuff like that. I mean, Evil did that for me, and you know, I like the fact that, you know, some of the stuff I do is inspiring to people, and you never know, man. Maybe one day you'll even see like a movie about me or something. You never know.
How about that? And then I can hang.
There's definitely going to be a book in the works.
I can hang Viva la Henry poster next to my Viva Knievel poster in my office.
There you go.
Nice.
Viva la Pitbull.
Viva la Pitbull. Well, Henry, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a great honor to talk to you. We got to do this again. We're friends now. We'll keep in touch. And
Absolutely. I'm flattered, dude. I mean, it means the world to me.
Yeah, man, seriously, this has been a lot of fun. I've been really looking forward to this. I was so excited when you got back to me so quick. I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Well, I hope I didn't disappoint.
No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, can you, real quick before I let you go, though, can you cut a quick ID for me? Just, you know, whatever you want to say. This is Henry the Pitbull, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Okay, you ready?
Say whatever you want to say. You know, sparkle it up if you want.
Sparkle it up. All right. Okay, ready? 3,
Go.
2. Hey, everybody, this is ATV Daredevil Henry, the Pitbull Rife, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Cool.
How's that?
Very good. Perfect.
Not bad
All right,
for
Henry.
a guy who rides a motorcycle, huh?
How about that? All right, Henry. Well, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch, and hopefully we get to hang out soon.
Looking forward to it, man. It's
Yeah,
a
man.
pleasure.
And no crashes. Stay safe
Yeah,
out there.
no crashes. That's too hard on my old ass. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, see
There
you.
he goes, everybody. Henry the Pitbull, the ATV Daredevil. And if the show is still airing on Discovery Channel, he said today might have been the last airing of it. You can go on iTunes, get it, Google Play or wherever. Check it out, Heirs To The Dare. And if you're an Evel Knievel fan, you'll love it. I loved it.